Helen from Red Platypus here. Today I wanted to talk about resilience and share a story of ours. So back in 2008, David and I decided to quit our media jobs in Perth and broaden our horizons, I suppose. So we decided to move to London together. And we dreamed of getting these amazing media jobs and being like super successful over in London. So we got on the plane and we landed in the big smoke right in the middle of the 2008 financial crisis. There were no jobs to be found and we were literally on the bones of our ass because we had spent all our money backpacking around Europe for 6 weeks prior to getting to London. So in the search for jobs, I ended up becoming a shoe shiner, and basically I was contracted out to these sky-rise buildings where I would go around stockbroking floors and go, shoe shining, does anyone want their shoe shined? Seriously, I'm not joking. And I would charge like £3 per pair of shoes and I would shine stockbrokers' shoes. And yeah, it wasn't really how I'd pictured my career panning out. And Dave's first job in the media in London was selling the Sun newspaper outside of tube stations in the freezing cold. He actually got fired because he wore his thick coat over the Sun t-shirt and they said he wasn't showing the brand well enough. So he actually got fired from that job because he was trying not to freeze to death. So anyway, these were not the careers we envisioned. I actually got pretty depressed at this point. We were struggling to pay our rent. We were living in this tiny little flat with like these housemates that we met online that we didn't really get along with. And it was a pretty dark place, to be honest. And there were times that I felt like giving up and just moving back to the comfort zone of Perth and going back to my cushy media job at the newspaper, and Dave got walking back into a job at the ABC. And like, to be honest, we did nearly give up, especially when we were pretty much about to run out of money. But you know what? We persevered and we ended up staying in London for nearly 5 years. And eventually we did get the dream media jobs that we had hoped for. Dave ended up working for Al Jazeera as a producer, and then he worked at Sky News, and eventually he got his dream job working as a news producer for BBC World News, which was amazing. And I worked for magazines, and I was a deputy editor of business magazines, and then I worked for a creative content agency, and we were loving our careers until we decided that we loved traveling more. So we quit those jobs and went traveling the world. But it just goes to show that it was a really long 5-year journey to get to that point where we felt that we were at the pinnacle of our careers in that stage of our lives. But, you know, it took some grit. There were moments that we really nearly gave up, but I think we just reminded ourselves that if we were to go back to Perth, would we regret it? And the answer was yes. So I think that's really why we stuck it out and persevered and eventually got the jobs that we were looking for. But man, it was bloody tough. But when I look back on it now, there's no way I would change any of it because it really taught us that we can do anything if we set our minds to it and persevere and work hard. So even though at the time I was feeling pretty low and down and I felt like I was really struggling in life, it really paid off. And I think if you're at a low point in your life right now, just be grateful you're experiencing it because it is teaching you life lessons and it's helping you to grow. And if you persevere through these dark times, you will come out on top and your hard work will pay off. And just remember, you're building resilience. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents for today. I just thought I would share that story with you. Take care.